Hi, welcome back. And I was just thinking there, I was on my way through to Montefiore, and I'm just thinking about the video I took last week. Of Glamsdam, and maybe what I could have done better. I like to think back and break down what I done when every time I go out to take a photo. So the main issue that I had was the light at the back of my picture, and that I had to push up my f rating, my aperture rating to f35, which isn't the best idea. But if you don't like using filters like what I do, I'd rather get the more natural photo, what I can see, and I try to use the settings that I've got on my camera to get that photo without adding adaptations to it, and then I can modify it all in Lightroom. Filters are fine, filters are perfectly good, they're cheap, they're a handy thing to have, especially for sunrises and sunsets, but I like to take a photo without the filters. So I was pointing towards the dam, and because the sun's so low this time of year, it was more of a bright background, so I had to zoom it in further to the waterfall. So the only kind of issue that I'm getting just now is the background's too light. I mean, I got a long exposure there at 0.4 of a second, which isn't very long, but it did give me part of the desired effect that I wanted. But because it was so bright in the background, I'm trying to adjust my shutter speed, because that's the essential bit of doing a long exposure. And when you adjust your shutter speed, the longer you leave your shutter speed open, the more light it's taking in. And because it was so bright in the background, it was just burning out my picture. So I could only reduce it. I was trying to get to 2-second exposure rate, but I had to reduce it right down to 0.4, which I gave it a long exposure, but it wasn't really what I'm wanting. A bit more blur. I'll kind of as we're sitting here speaking just now, there's grey clouds coming over, so I might be able to drop it. There's 1 second. That's a 1 second exposure at f22. So I might have to change my ISO. And f22, which is the highest my camera will go to just now on this mode, so I need to maybe zoom in a bit. Now I've zoomed in, I'm getting up to f36. And by doing that, I managed to up my f rating, my aperture rating, to get the photo that I was looking for. A lot of people would have maybe just chucked on a filter and dropped their f rating, which would have dropped their f rating, and maybe would have got a clearer picture. But the picture I was looking for, I got with just tinkering about with all the settings. Filters seem to be an easy way out, in my mind. I mean, the whole point of photography is for it to be a challenge, to challenge yourself, or the way I look at it, to challenge myself, and to get the best out of the camera and the equipment I've got. So I like to tinker with all my settings. I like to push up my ISO sometimes, not all the time. I like to keep it down as low as I can, but I do modify it, I do move it up and down the range. But I do like to tinker with my shutter speed, and I do like to tinker with my aperture, my f rating, sorry. So that's what I done. I was struggling low down in my f ratings, about 11, 12, and it was still, my picture was still a bit bleached out with the light behind the dam, behind the waterfall. So what I had to do was I had to sit and think. I had to use my brain to try and get the photo that I wanted. I had to try and use my brain, my thought process, instead of just chucking on a filter and hoping for the best that way. I mean, the filter, you're not really hoping for the best. You know that you're going to be able to get a good picture if you stick on a filter, especially if you're looking at the sun. But what I tried to do was, I want to do it with the camera, so I zoomed in a bit further, and the more I zoomed in, the more play I had with my f rating, and the more I zoomed in again, and I got a higher f rating, and I got a less of a bleached picture, and I got a really good picture out of that. I'll show you, recap the picture again, pop up like about now or something. Now. Aye. So I had to figure out the solution. Instead of just quickly chucking on a filter, not thinking about it, you just chuck on a filter and then you can reduce it. I had to use my camera settings. I had to use my knowledge and my technique that I use to take photos to try and get a good photo in that situation. And I think if you're doing that, if you're using your brain and not just taking the easy option, which is a filter, then you're getting used to the settings in your camera, you're getting used to, you're getting the full effect of all of the settings that you can use, and you can kind of figure out what goes with what shutter speed goes with it, your aperture rating, and what ISO you can use as well. So I think it's only beneficial. But I'm sure a lot of folk would rather just chuck on a filter, but that's just the way I like to do it. And then I get to know my camera, I get to know my settings, and I get to know what's what, and I get to know what's good in certain situations. If I can't do that and I really can't get the picture I need, then I'll chuck on a filter. So I like to think that doing it that way, I become a better photographer. So that's my wee, it's meant to be a 2-minute rant, but it's worked on to 5 minutes. But it's always handy to try and just do what you can first with the camera that you've got before you start adding filters and everything like that onto it. So aye, so that's a wee bit of a breakdown of the issue that I had. The main issue I had last week when I was taking my photo of the waterfall. I managed to solve it myself. I managed to use the settings and the equipment that I've got to get a more natural looking picture on the day, and then at night time I go back and then I go into my post editing, I put my photos on and I tweak them a wee bit here and there just to kick them off that wee bit more. But yeah, try that first. Use your settings first before you reach into your bag for your filters, and I think it'll make you a better photographer at the end of the day. So if you're liking these videos, guys, remember and keep liking, keep commenting, and subscribe if you can. And I will see you on my next video, wherever that may be. But I really appreciate your support, guys, and thank you again. Cheers.